Hey, what's going on today? I hope you guys are doing good. I'm pushing and shoving.
There is a lot of animosity out there in the world right now for those who have a lot of wealth, especially the billionaires who seem to have all the wealth and are leaving nothing for the rest of us. This sentiment only grew during 2020, as the global pandemic wiped out many small businesses while major ones like Amazon thrived. However, there is a show that is aiming to try and show that at least some of those rich folk do care and want to help others out. That show is Undercover Billionaire, and one of its recent stars found out just how hard it was to try and achieve a dream in the world we live in. Allow us to show you Grant Cardone Undercover Billionaire Update. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. What is Undercover Billionaire? For those who didn't watch the first season of the show and haven't thought about season 2, allow us to give you a refresher. Undercover Billionaire is a reality show that features literal billionaires giving up everything to try and prove that with hard work and determination, you can go and make $1 million business in just 90 days. To be clear, there were rules that they had to follow. They had to be put in a town they knew nothing about, they were stripped of all of their phone contacts and couldn't reach out to anyone for help that they knew in their billionaire life, and most importantly, they didn't have the luxury of their massive bank accounts. Instead, they were dropped off, given a beat-up old truck and $100, and told to make things work. The first season focused on Glenn Stearns, who made his own lending business and turned it into a company worth a lot. But he gave it all up and went to Erie, Pennsylvania to try and make $1 million business. If he failed, he'd invest $1 million of his own money to make sure he completed his goal after the fact. Glenn went through heck during that season, including a resurgence of his cancer that he had early in life. But he pushed through and made Underdog Barbecue, and got it appraised at $750,000. Not bad for just 90 days. And in season 2, they went bigger, with 3 new billionaires giving it their all to try and make things happen, one of which was Grant Cardone. Who is Grant Cardone? If you don't know Grant Cardone, then you definitely haven't tried to 10x your life, because he's a man who works with people and businesses to help them rise above what are some of the tropes and stereotypes that plague business owners and give them the chance to truly make themselves successful like he has in his career. I work with small companies and Fortune 500 companies to grow sales by finding overlooked opportunities and customizing the sales process to be more effective. I have worked with companies like Google, Sprint, Aflac, Toyota, GM, Ford, and thousands more. I own and operate 7 companies that do almost $100 million in annual sales. And I'm also a New York Times best-selling author, international speaker, and considered the top sales training and social media expert in the world today. It's one thing to say that you're good at your job, but as you can see, Grant Cardone absolutely proves it. And that's what made him such a perfect candidate for the second season of Undercover Boss. But even by his own admission, trying to apply the things that you've learned over the years, and after many successes and failures, isn't as simple as just shouting, "10x your life!" The American dream is hard. Before the show aired on Discovery Channel the first go-around, it was taken off the air and then re-aired later on when the news cycle didn't affect the show as much. He did an interview about what it was like to do this 90-day challenge, and he said straight up that it was very hard. The American dream is very hard. Way harder than I've been writing about in books and talking about from seminar stages. This was the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life. It was no food, no water, and no shelter. Just $100 and an old truck. I learned that there's so much to be grateful for that we take for granted every day, like bad employees. When you're out there by yourself, you're saying, man, I sure would like to have a couple of bad employees right now. Anything is better than nothing. Which sounds somewhat ludicrous because many of us have had to deal with bad workers and employees, and when you have the option to get rid of them, you tend to take that option. But with Grant and his fellow undercover billionaires, they didn't have that option. They had to go and make things work, else fail. And Grant was not the kind of guy to accept failure, even when it was smacking him in the face over and over again. overcoming. For those that have watched Season 2 of Undercover Billionaire up until now, you'll know that of the 3 people who have gone undercover, Grant has arguably had the hardest road overall. First and foremost, they dropped him in the middle of Colorado, a place called Pueblo, and unlike the others, he didn't have as much to work with, as he was in a smaller area than they were. So right off the bat, he had to go and figure out ways to try and both live and survive and make money and make $1 million business with all of those challenges. Not an easy task. And that was before certain pitfalls started to befall him. First off, while he was in the middle of a week of work, about 2 weeks into his 90 days, he had to be shut down because the governor of Colorado shut down the state to practices like theirs. So he had to return home and then come back with 14 days gone, his own self-imposed penalty to be clear. And all the momentum gone from what he had done so far, before it was a while before he got to come back to Pueblo. Then, when he was back, not only did he have to go and endure all sorts of things due to the challenging landscape, he himself got COVID. So he got shut down again because he couldn't go outside and expose anyone to the virus. He even sent the camera crew away so that he wouldn't infect them. So he's faced a shutdown, an illness, and losing momentum, and by the latest episode, he's in dead last in terms of making his $1 million business come to life. Will he be able to overcome? More than likely, but it will be anything but easy for him, that's for sure. What to do this year? One of the perks of Undercover Billionaire is the fact that they go and speak to the viewer about what to do in order to try and help your business succeed or grow it beyond what it is right now. And during that interview we mentioned earlier, Cardone talked about what he personally felt people should do in 2021 in terms of getting better in the returning economic climate and not staying small. 64% of all businesses in America lose money or break even. 2/3 of those have no employees. The no employee thing is the dumbest game you can play. You cannot do everything yourself. Do not stay small in 2021. You have to expand. This year, I would try and grow my business as much as possible and get rid of anything that has the business overly encumbered. Give up profits in your company to other people. If there is a profit, just do whatever you need to do to add people, whether it's employees, 1099s, or collaborating partners. Partnerships don't cost money. Collaboration doesn't cost money. What costs money is staying a one-man or one-woman show. Thoughts to ponder as you go on your own journey. Communication. The idea of communication is something that many of us had to rediscover in 2020. In-person chats were all but impossible, and online chats and Zoom calls were what everyone was doing just to stay sane. But according to Cardone, if you want to go and grow your business, build relationships and talk to people. The biggest takeaway for me is, if you want to build $1 million business, you do not need money, but you do need people. I solve all my problems on this show through other people. You can take away my money, my name, and my credit cards, but you can't take away what I know and the ability to go and communicate with people. And that's where most people are failing, on communication to others. Very wise words indeed. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Grant Cardone and how he was willing to give it all up to showcase on Undercover Billionaire how you can build up your dream from scratch? Are you amazed by how many things he had to overcome while doing this show? Do you think he'll be able to recover and succeed with his business plan? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.